Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
And I just admitted Kari as well, and we do have a quorum.
Okay. Okay, well, it's 7 o'clock. I'm going to call the meeting of Community Development Authority for July 21st, 2021 to order. And the first item will be the roll call.
Barker,
Here.
Barron. I did not see Belinda. Furlong,
Here.
Nelson,
Here.
Oaks,
Here.
Olson,
Here.
and Weber. I also did not see. Neither one of them said that they could make it tonight. So I think we have everybody
Okay.
who said they could be here.
Okay, well, all right. So, and the next item is the approval of the Community Development Authority minutes for June 3rd and June 17th. We had those two of those meetings, and we didn't have the minutes, so it's the approval of both sessions.
Kari has her hand raised.
Thank you.
Okay.
I didn't have time to look it up ahead of time, but for one of those, I'm listed as absent, but I think I joined about 5 or 6 minutes late because of trying to get on Zoom. Must be
Okay.
The other one. I mentioned in the minutes later on, so I'm sure I was.
Sorry about that. I was probably
okay.
taking the minutes as I was doing the meeting.
I know,
so
I know, but that's the one I probably joined it at about 7:06 or so.
Okay.
I was saying that it was more than 5 minutes.
With that correction, so you would be interested in making a motion to approve?
Sure, I'll move to approve after the correction of my being in attendance at 7:06 on 21 July.
All right. Now let's see.
I'll second.
Karen is going to second it. How about that? That's a lot of brave people here. So, okay. So any further changes, questions, or whatever? Well, if there are no questions or comments, all those in favor of the motion to approve the minutes of CDA for June 3rd and June 17th with a change that Kari Oaks was there just only 6.5 or 7 minutes late. So all those in favor say aye.
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 Anyone opposed? All right, Abby. So that's that. So all right. So we are on to financial reports. You want to give the highlights? I did look at it, and we got some money from a couple of sources.
Yes. So I don't really have a whole lot to draw your attention to here. We're still waiting for the transfer in from the TIF for this year. So I'll flag that for our finance director. We also have one down payment assistance loan that has come due now. It has been the 15-year period. So this is the first full loan that wasn't prepaid early. And so Mike and I are working with our city attorney on getting a document prepared to get that loan repaid to the CDA. That one is about $13,000. And then I know since you have some requests on the agenda for the event sponsorship, and well, actually you just have a request for event sponsorship tonight. So I did put together just a quick spreadsheet to show you where you are with that. And so as a reminder for the year, you have $7,500 for downtown marketing assistance, that's the matching fund, and $7,500 for CDA event sponsorship. After the allotments that have been made for Summer Fun, National Mustard Day, you have $4,500 unspent in downtown marketing and $1,500 unspent in CDA event sponsorship. This does not count the requests that had been made from the Downtown Business Association for support for their communications position. And I need to touch base with Andrea and get more information on what the status of that request is. But I did get an email from Andrea, and she said that she's working on getting a check from the DMBA for $4,000 to the CDA to repay you for some of the sponsorship you provided for the holiday gift offerings. So you will have $4,000 coming back in from that. So in these two categories, you have a total of $6,000, and that is the exact amount that is on your agenda for requests tonight. I don't anticipate anything else coming in aside from the DMBA's pending request for the communications coordinator. And the city does allow a transfer from line item to line item without going through the full budget amendment. So not saying you have to, but if you did approve both of the requests that are on your agenda tonight, we can internally transfer so that you won't have a line that is over budget.
Okay, any questions for Abby?
Kieran has his hand raised.
Okay,
Yes.
Karen, go ahead.
Thanks, Abby. So just one question on the summer fun, because obviously this is the first time we're doing it, and we're what, 3 weeks in now. This will be the 4th. So far seems to be working out well. Last Thursday was great. But I'm just wondering, on a budget standpoint, the 5,000 was a bit of a thumb in the wind as to what we thought we would be spending. And definitely from last week, I had lots of people who were very enthusiastic about it continuing. So I would be cautious about us, if we want to, if we go over that 5,000, I want to have some room to be able to come back to the committee and say, do we want to increase that a little bit as well? So with the performers who are booked, do we currently have an estimate? Dan, you might be best placed on that, or Kathy, to know what portion of the 5,000 is already spoken for.
Okay, so Kathy,
I only know from the bands in August. I don't have any idea what other expenses have been incurred.
I
Let me
think the
think.
expenses, we've got some for the arts, supporting the arts committee's work and the street chalk artist, and then the
Okay.
performers as well, right?
I think the arts committee is doing their own out of their own budget.
Okay,
But the
very
chalk
good.
artist, yes. Let me see if I can pull up the spreadsheet.
300.
And just so it's clear to everyone, yeah, it's not that I'm against supporting anything else. I just don't want this to overpromise and then find ourselves in a hole, halfway through August or something.
so Karen, I like the way you are framed in that picture. That boy, did you see that?
My portrait.
Yeah, looks good. Did you see that? Pretty smart. Didn't mean to digress, but it looks good. Okay, go ahead.
What was the last one? Oh, 300.
Yeah, the way I was looking was that it was 300 per event, so we spent about 900, and then we got 5 more events, 900 plus 15, so that's 24.
Yeah, but I think, Mayor Brower, that was for guidance. Some of the performers were above the 300, if we got a 4-piece band, and
Okay.
some were below the 300, so.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, I'm trying to, that information is in the Google Doc, right?
Right.
I think so.
It's in the spreadsheet.
Okay.
And
Sorry, I
it
think I
is-
was on the wrong tab.
Yep, if you go to the, what's that, music tab, I think it is.
Okay, I got it. Let me share.
You've got
this.
invoices for all those. So I made sure for July, we were under that. I don't know about August.
Under what?
Under
Uh,
1,200.
Yeah,
Well,
well,
mine-
under the 5,000 limit that we planned
Well,
for
yes, but
July.
that would only be for half the entertainment, Dan. Okay. On the schedule tab instead of the music tab, Abby, the first
Mhm.
month?
Sorry.
Okay. In August, all of them are 300 except Ken Longquist, he is 500.
So 300 for Jazz, 500 for Ken, 300 for Blue Spruce, and 300 for Mackenzie.
Yes. Mhm.
So that'll
Okay.
be 1,400 there plus 200 for the chalk artist, because that's $50 an evening, I think. So that's 1,600 for August. And then
Are we keeping her through August? I hope so.
I think, I mean, she seems to get the kids out playing and everything. So I think that's something we should continue to do. if possible.
Dan, there's supplies that go with the chalk artist too, right?
Yeah, I've been buying those for her. I've
Hey,
got
I
one
know I need
invoice.
to reimburse you too, Dan. I'm sorry. I'll
No,
get on
no,
that.
no, we can work it out. That's fine. I understand. The main thing, to Kieran's point, is I want to make sure our performers get paid first. So, yeah, in seconding what Kieran says, yes, please, let's make sure.
Yeah. I know Moldy Jam was 300 and I don't know about the rest.
The Shakespeare was cost free to us, right, Dan?
Right, but they asked that we do the normal charge and that they would donate that money that we would normally charge. I think we said 300, Abby.
Yeah, to the
Right,
stone
okay.
horse green.
So 300.
Slip
300.
jig was 400
All right, so that's 1,000,
and the tools are 500.
1,500. And then
And then
200.
2 charge.
And 250 for the chalk artist.
She is $50 a
Yeah,
Thursday.
so that'd be 250 there, yeah. 2 Charlie, I think we're missing that one.
He's 50 an hour, so that would be 100.
$100. Okay.
Okay.
So I think we've got some space then under our 5K budget allocation, which, okay, I just wanted to make sure we weren't skating right close to the wire on it.
Yeah, and we
I
do
come up with-
have, within the budget, we've always had this line for miscellaneous expenses for 1,000, and we've continued to carry that forward, but we usually don't spend any of that. So,
Okay, so we've got a little bit of room for supplies, pastels and stuff if we need to reimburse there, which we should.
Yeah.
Okay,
I think Abby doesn't look like when you add both the months, there's less than 3,000.
I come up
think
with
so.
about 3,500 is
Yeah.
what I come up with.
35, okay.
Oh, 3,450, but I do have a question on the budget. The Hubbard Activity Center is showing 0. How is that going? Are they getting enough people? Are we on target?
that's a good
Yeah.
question.
No.
I think
We are
Rebecca's on the
not,
line.
yeah, you are not on target because of all the gathering limits. So because that's a $2 per person charge that gets paid back. So for the spring, January through April, it's only $802 that we brought in because of our capacity limits.
Okay.
This summer we have not done as many events indoors either because people are still not comfortable with it. So we are probably still going to be in that $1,000 ballpark range, and we're usually significantly higher than that. And I think it will just depend on the fall and what people are feeling like for comfort level. But I wouldn't anticipate more than $3,000 from Hubbard Activity Center for this year, just given all the COVID pieces.
Oh, that's disappointing. Okay.
Thank you, Rebecca.
There was a year, so it wouldn't have been 2020, it must have been 2019 that we got about $2,000 more than what we had budgeted for the activity center.
Yes, our 2019 number is obviously significantly higher. The challenge is just indoor spaces that we were under gathering, pretty significant gathering limits. So
Rebecca, I'm kind of curious on this, and I'm only going to ask because you rent that space out for parties and stuff, or that was there is a line, you can a link to it online. Do you charge? What is the reimbursement to the CDA for something like that?
what was set up is that it's $15 an hour, and that $10 goes to like our department to take care of cleaning and doing those other things, and $5 an hour would go to 5 of the 15 would go to the CDA. But there really hasn't been any reservations for that either this year.
Okay, do we have like a contract or anything that goes back and forth between the two departments, Abby?
There was a an original proposal that we've modified, but it's not a contract. It's just, when we first brought the proposal to the CDA, it was like based on a percentage of the total fees, and that didn't work. That was under our former recreation director, Megan Meyer. And so when we made the revision to just go with $2 per enrollment or per class, I can't remember exactly, we brought that back to the CDA as an amended proposal, and that was approved, but it's not like formalized in a contract or anything.
Okay. Okay, any further questions to Abby or anyone else? I think we even took it a part of item number 4. So anything about the financial reports, and we don't need any motion to approve, Abby, right? There's nothing there, so. Okay, if there's no more questions on this one, we go to item number 3. And now this would need, item number 2, actually. That is the request for CDA event sponsorship for holiday tree lighting, $2,000, and Santa Parade, $5,000 by Middleton Parks and Recreation on Saturday, November 20th.
This one's
Santa,
500.
yeah, Santa comes in December, and lighting is on November 20th.
2 different events, yeah.
Yes.
Are they on different days?
Yes.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
police department last year organized the Santa Parade, and they actually, Officer Wilson came to us and asked us if we would help him with it this year. It was more than he anticipated in terms of organizing it. So that will be the 11th of December.
Okay.
Which tree are you going to light this year? Do we know yet?
Do we have another tree?
I think we will light what we have, and then when we have a Stone Horse Green built next year, I guess then we can have a different arrangement. So rather, we will see what we want to do in terms of lighting. We could have a different lighting system there. So, or could even have a tree. So, but right now that's what we have, and that's the best tree. Pretty big, so good size.
Dan Barker has his hand raised.
Dan, go ahead, please.
Just a question, if we ever get any other groups wanting to do some other religious sponsorship like this, if there's any opportunities for that. I don't know if who can answer that, but maybe just simply that the record could reflect that we're looking for potentially other groups.
Yes.
What's really good to note though, Dan, when the recreation department was asked to take this event over a few years ago, one of the things that we were very adamant within our department is making sure that we have opportunities that are not just religiously affiliated during this event, because we've had that discussion feeling the same way that we do have a very large Jewish population that live in the Middleton area, that we want to be inclusive. So some of the activities that we've had throughout the day reflect, like the carriage rides, or we've had the last couple of years, we've been able to close off the street and do different minute to win it type games in the street and just encourage people to come out and participate, to really try to build the sense of community and not necessarily think about one particular affiliation or one particular group, but trying to build that sense of community. So I know it's something that we take very serious at the department, and that we've been trying to make sure that we're incorporating different things.
I very much appreciate that. And I think the key word is inclusive. We're a community. We don't want to exclude people. I'd love to see if there's opportunities in which we could partner with a private organization to take over some of this stuff. That'd be great. But thank you. I appreciate that we want to have a community.
Okay, Kari Oaks.
Thank you. I just was going to, I think I'm recalling that at a previous meeting, we had talked about whether the tree lighting was the right kind of method or symbol that we wanted to use to sort of symbolize the winter season. And I think we talked about the fact that that tree getting chopped down might be an opportunity to reimagine what we do, to move away from having it, so even if we do a secular celebration that is linked to a religious celebration, that we could move to something else that was more just, you know, here comes winter or something like that, to give more opportunity. And maybe the fact that the Santa parade is going to happen could be an opportunity to sort of carve out what the CDA and the city sponsors in public city places is, it doesn't draw on any particular religious tradition.
One idea that Rebecca and I have talked about is, and I know this will make Jessica Regal super happy too, because she's all about the lights downtown. We've talked about starting next year, so keeping the holiday tree lighting this year, but then starting next year, we would have Light the Green, or something like that, where it wouldn't even necessarily have to be like a tree, but we could light various features and still do the same countdown, but we could like line the edge of the band shell with a whole bunch of lights and wrap the sculptures with a bunch of lights and really make it spectacular in the winter.
Sounds awesome, Abby.
And also the Stone Horse Green will provide a lot of opportunities for that, I think.
Okay, I'm gonna ask a question though at the Santa parade. It's like when the emergency vehicles went through town or whatever. And this is making stops all over town. And I'm just wondering how it ends up downtown, yes, but how that the CDA would end up being the sponsor for that if it's a whole city event.
That's a good question. So
I think when Officer Wilson approached us about helping him with that, he wanted it to have more of a conclusion and draw more to the center of the community and try to bring people together in that same way that we're trying to do, bring people together with some of the other events that we have. And that felt that that was probably the best collective space, was trying to bring it downtown, so that either they were going to end either at like the City Hall green space or that Stone Horse Green area. He wasn't completely sure yet, just depending on things, but really felt that it might be an opportunity to also have all of the emergency vehicles located in one spot, that people could come and see those vehicles, kind of like what they do with some of the things for National Night Out, but have that opportunity to once again just kind of bring people together and have community. And that was his ultimate goal, is that he wanted to rein it in and make it more centrally focused. Because while it was great to go to all the neighborhoods, it was definitely challenging. It tied up resources for a long time, and it was difficult to maneuver, he felt.
According to what I'm reading though, they still plan to go throughout the whole city and make stops throughout the city for Santa to distribute. Why would anybody, if their Santa Claus is coming to their neighborhood, come downtown?
That's a good question. I think he was thinking it was still going to be smaller than what it was, and maybe have a stop like at Lakeview and a stop, have the end focus be at the downtown area.
I don't, but I guess I don't get it. If to decorate the truck so people can see the truck go through the city and have Santa stop and distribute candy canes throughout the city. If it were downtown and they wanted to bring the vehicles all downtown, and you know, that I could understand having a CDA connection. I'm just not quite figuring this out yet. So
Kathy, are you willing to pay part of it then? I mean, the part which will be associated with the downtown?
how do we know what that is?
Well, I guess Rebecca could work that out. Or we could make a.
I don't want to seem like a Grinch or anything, but I'm just trying to figure out how CDA funds. This seems like it's getting to be more of a, okay, we've done the tree lighting and all the activities. Seems like just a kind of a Project Creep kind of thing. This, you know, we'll ask the CDA for this too. So I don't see it as a downtown thing, actually.
Okay, well, let's hear from others. I think you have a good point there. So how about the other commissioners or trustees? Please raise your hand. I don't see any. Well, otherwise I will start asking one by one.
Well, I could be, I've been alone in how I feel about things, but I'm okay with that.
Okay,
Other people might
Okay,
not have
well-
a problem with that.
so you're willing to prove, okay, Katie Nelson, but you're willing to prove 2,000. You don't have no problem with 2,000, right?
Right, these are two different events and two different requests.
Yes, yes. Well, no, they're all in one, but yeah, they are two separate in any case. So you're willing to go with 2,000.
Yeah,
Katie, go ahead.
I guess I'm with Kathy. If there's going to be a parade, let's have it go around Stonehorse. Let's have it go down Hubbard. Let's have it be something that people want to come down for. And my other question is about the tree lighting. How on earth does that cost $2,000? The lights have been pretty skimpy the last few years. I'd love to see if we're gonna do it. Wrap the branches, man.
Rebecca,
The cost has been affiliated with doing all the other items such as the carriage rides, the paying for Santa Claus, carriage rides, paying for Santa Claus. We have done cookies and games and activities at the senior center. So that has also covered that as well. The carriage rides are definitely, they're half the cost of what we're asking for. And then the rest of it has been to, again, cover cookies, hot chocolate, have the games, cover Santa Claus, those types of things, candy canes.
Would it be, could it be cute and as fun to rent the trolley for a while? Would it be less money?
It hasn't been an option for us. That
it's
would
always $100 an hour outside of the times the trolley's running, so.
Mhm. Are they put away for the winter at this point and in December?
I think they have not been using it for past years. So I don't know are they coming back? I don't think
They're
that,
back.
Just started back
They're
up.
running, yeah.
oh, they are running. Okay.
And they ran during the holiday season, like forever.
Okay. Rebecca, so what do you say? You say they're not available, or would that be cheaper, or would it be even more expensive? I can see those kids like those hay rides, and trolley would be somewhat different, right?
I mean, they could be decked out and have Santa's helpers all over the trolley. Kind of like that train that they had, the Polar Express that went through. They had singing elves and stuff at Greenway.
Well, that could also be used to bring people to downtown too, if they wanted to pick them up like at Lakeview or different places and bring them to downtown.
So let's think about that, right? So I got, Katie, you have some more points, or I have two people, Dan Barker
No,
first,
those are my points.
and then Kari, and then after that, maybe Jessica Rigo. Okay, Dan Barker, then Kari Oaks, and then Jessica Rigo.
I just wanted to say I support both what Kathy and Katie are saying. My question though is Parks and, can I call it Parks and Rec? Is Parks and Rec paying for half and we're paying for the other half? How's this working?
Rebecca?
we have paid for everything that hasn't been covered, and we don't have a budget to do that. So I think without your support, I don't think we would actually run the event.
Which one of the Santa Parade or the tree lighting?
Well, the Santa Parade is not my event. The Santa Parade is the police department and Officer Olson. He's just asked us to help him with the organization. So that would be up to him if he was going to continue to run that one.
So let him handle that. So I think that's Okay, so,
I'm sorry, Mayor, just
yeah.
a
sorry, go ahead,
follow-up
please.
question.
Mhm.
And forgive me, I'm an amateur citizen. Parks and Rec doesn't have it in its budget, or you didn't budget for it, or I don't understand how that works. Could you help me walk me through that?
Certainly. Well, actually, the city, there isn't been anything since I've been in Park and Rec that they budget for special events. So anything that is going to be covered for our department, we usually have to generate the revenue to cover it. When we've had overages, because we've had really successful years, then we can use our overages towards things like this, events like this. So oftentimes we pay for any additional staff because it takes quite a few staff to pull this event off. So we take care of paying for those things, but within like the structure of the budget, there really hasn't been anything set aside for special events, and that Parks and Rec has been charged with covering the expense of every program that we run. That's why we charge people to participate in events.
Thank you. How long have you guys been running this?
Well, Mike asked us to take it over, Mike Davis. I think the particular conversation went after my first year of being here. Well, you seem to be doing really good. Here's a great event that the volunteers no longer want to do. Show us what you can do. And so it was one of those things. So we are on year number 5.
It's awesome. Thank you for doing it. Appreciate it.
So Dan,
Yeah,
Middleton Chamber used to do that before, and of course, Mike is going to give you more details. So Mike, go ahead.
Yeah, for many years, the Chamber of Commerce ran the event, and then they gave up on it, and the Downtown Business Association, really Marilyn Burke, just took it on, and she pretty much did it by herself. And the event went on, but what Rebecca has been able to do is to rejuvenate it and bring a lot more family-centered activities into the downtown. And it's been pretty remarkable, the transformation. So I think it's a great thing to fund. The majority, of course, of all of that happens in the downtown. The Santa Parade, you guys were talking about, I understand the concern about it being throughout the community. But as I followed it last year, there's not a whole lot of stops. If it's stopping in the downtown, it's really going to benefit. I mean, if it's ending in the downtown, it's going to benefit the downtown primarily. When you go throughout the community, Rebecca, I don't recall Santa really stopping many places, commercial or otherwise, just driving through the neighborhoods.
My understanding, so that Officer Wilson, and again, I know I'm speaking for him, and that he really wants to make it so the route is smaller. And last year it did not stop anywhere, but that was also a COVID concern. We did not want anyone gathering anywhere. And really to try to, I think his idea is really like, again, building that community. And that's why he wants to stop in the downtown area and have people be able to come up and stand by a fire truck or a police car and take a picture and do some of those things. And once again, draw people back to the downtown area.
So I see it as primarily benefiting the downtown if it's ending up in the downtown. Last year, my recollection was, because I followed it throughout town just to see how things were going. And it started at the police department and wound through neighborhoods, people lined streets. And like you said, because of COVID, we didn't have any stops. And it could be a smaller route. It could be from the police department essentially to the downtown and stopping at the downtown, ending up at Stonehorse Green. Then, from what I'm hearing Kathy and Katie and Dan saying, you could reasonably say that this is a downtown event.
Well, Mike, I think that Officer Wilson, he had plans and he organized it. And the last time I know they went to I don't know when they went to the community of Bishop Bay. They did go to the North Lake and all of those. I mean, they covered the whole city. So I think just because of $500, maybe we can talk about it later, not approve it now. Let's get more details from Officer Wilson. And proposal was that he was planning to stay at multiple places, which probably does make sense. And so maybe this is the item we approved at 2000, and let's get more details, and then we can work on it too. So I have hands Kari Oaks, Karen Furlong, and Kathy Olson, and I know Jessica, I know you had your hand up, but you're not on the commission. So do you have any quick input here?
I just wasn't sure if this was an appropriate
Jessica
time.
Rigo.
Oh, yep. Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Jessica.
I wasn't sure if this was an appropriate time to give some feedback in regards from DMBA and Downtown Middleton Business Association about the trolley versus the carriage rides, and any feedback about, I think, relating back to what Mike said about if the parade ends up in Stonehorse Green, how that would benefit businesses. I don't know if you want my comments right now or if you'd like me to hold off.
Go for it, Jessica.
All
Yeah.
right. All right. So here we go. No. In regards to the Santa parade, I think I already said, like Mike had said, that I think that ending in Stonehorse Green, not only would it benefit the whole idea of promoting Stonehorse Green, which obviously is going to be a huge benefit for the downtown businesses when it's finished, but it's also been a huge place that brings business in now. And I think depending upon the time that it occurs, and if I remember last year, it was in the maybe mid-afternoon, it was wonderful. I mean, I know magical can't be rated objectively, but I will say that it brought customers outside. There were smiles. It was also during a time when there weren't a lot of festivities and things like that planned because of COVID. And unfortunately, as much as I don't want to think that's still on the horizon, it may be. So I think what a great opportunity to bring the whole community. And if it is driving still around in different neighborhoods, that having the ending downtown is a great finale, and people can make the decision if they want to go downtown and still be outside and enjoy activities, or bring themselves inside to the stores. It's still an option of what's safe for people to choose if they want to participate in. And then going back to the downtown tree lighting, I was going to mention just a small thing, that Maryland had installed a place like a cement holding for a tree. So if that is an option or a direction that you'd like to take that, I think it's still there. So that was one thought. And then the, I'm sorry, I jumped back to the Santa parade because of the carriage versus the trolley. The trolley would not be a safe plan if COVID numbers were to increase. And there are maybe even some parents with small children who kids aren't vaccinated wouldn't take that option. Whereas the carriage ride, I think, would be safer. And again, I think it's something that people look forward to because the trolley is already operating. So it's not very seen as very special. And not to say that it still couldn't be, decked out and for that occasion. But I also think the carriage or the trolley is already operating during the day during that time. So the carriage would be seen as something extra. So as a business, I think it would be a great option to have something like that special going on downtown.
Thank you, Jessica. Okay, so I have any questions? Well, anyway, you probably would have questions, but I got the Kari Oaks, Ken Furlong, Kathy Olson, and then Mike Davis in that order. Kari, go ahead.
Thanks. Actually, that was great, Jessica, to hear your input on the trolley versus the sleigh. And I think the persuasive thing for me is the idea about the unknown potential vaccination status of small children. And this would provide an opportunity potentially for people with children under 12 to get out and do something fun if they're still hanging on waiting for the opportunity to be vaccinated. Having said that, what I wanted to say is I think it's very exciting to think about the potential for using trolleys to do for other purposes besides the tourism dedicated use that they have right now. I think I've met with my alder, a couple of other alders, some city officials about how I think that trolleys in many other municipalities provide a really great way to connect neighborhoods in a pretty small community. And I don't know, I still think the trolley is pretty special. It goes down Hubbard every half hour when it's running, and I wave and the guy rings the bell, and I'm 57 years old and I think it's cool. So maybe that's just me, but I think keeping the idea of the use of that resource in a way that doesn't conflict with how the tourism dollars have to be spent is something that we, as people who are committed to the downtown and as Middleton residents who want to stitch together the city, shouldn't forget.
Yeah, we could combine both. So Kari, you're done?
Yes, thank
So
you.
The next one is Karen, and then Kathy, and then Mike.
Yeah, look, first of all, I want to do a time check. We've got 2 more items to do before we go into the closed session, and I do want to ensure we leave enough time for the closed session. So I'll make my comments brief. First of all, I want to come to the rescue of my fellow members of the fellow commissioners who Rebecca might be thinking are Grinches. But I just want to stress that one of the things we're doing, Rebecca, is with events, we really want to see what other sources of funding is available. And we do prefer to see events where we are coming in as kind of matching our partial funders versus carrying the whole bag. So that's just something I think we should think about for future events, whether it's the tree lighting and the Santa Parade as well. So I think given it looks like there has been involvement from the Chamber of Commerce, the MBA, I think this is the kind of event that would be open to sponsorship. And I think we should consider that to do partial funding. So partial funding from CDA, partial funding from other entities. Likewise for the Santa Parade, to consider that in a manner here as well. I'm not necessarily suggesting they go overly commercial, but I just want to make the point that we've had other groups come through here as well, Rebecca, other events, and we're going to have another conversation now about Strolling Jazz. And it's really around, is the CDA the only one who's carrying the bag for these things? So that's the point there. However, having said that, for this year, I'd be prepared to make a motion for the 2,000 in expenditure for the tree. For the Santa Parade, if we could, I'm prepared to let that ride to next month if we want to think about it and see if there's a potential to bring in shared sponsorship or something. But if somebody else wants to take up the motion, I'm fine on that one. Those are my comments.
Okay, need a second?
Well, I think there's one other comment. Kathy, I think wanted to weigh in.
Oh, okay.
The comments are finished.
Okay.
And
Well,
Mike too. My only question was, I know at the tree lighting, one of the big finales is when Santa arrives on the fire truck and Santa comes. And then we're going to have 2 weeks later where Santa's going to be arriving in something else. Can these two be combined in any way and have Santa end his parade as part of the tree lighting? That's the only thing I was going to ask. Thank you.
Thank you. Mike?
I think that's a valid point, Kathy, and we've discussed that. And again, depends on what your focus wants to be.
Exactly. And you don't want kids down in Lakeview and Santa's visiting down there. Yeah. So it's just what the second time he comes downtown probably wouldn't be as exciting for some of the kids. So, but.
Kathy, you're done?
Yep.
Okay, Mike?
Yeah, I think harkening back to what Abby said, and she had talked with Rebecca about, with eventually replacing the tree lighting with a lighting of the Stone Horse Green. I know I had mentioned to Abby at one time too, in a community I used to work in, we had a lighting of the courthouse square, and it was extraordinary. And the lights were strung over the square. It's still to this day a huge event in that community, and it is a great replacement for in more of a secular type of approach and festival, although I think Santa is pretty doggone secular. And I think we can be setting the stage by ending a Santa parade at Stone Horse Green. I do like the idea of combining the events into one, because Santa can wear out his welcome a bit. Kids will see Santa all over, but when they see him first in Middleton prior to Thanksgiving, that is a more special type of event.
Are you done, Mike?
Yes,
Okay, thank you. Okay, so the Karen made the motion and
So
wow.
I'll make a motion to approve $2,000 for the lighting ceremony in November. And I'll make a motion, a separate motion, or a part of this motion, that we just move the Santa Parade decision to next month so we can have time to have a discussion around combining the events, as well as looking at, are there other potential co-sponsors of that event alongside CDA?
Okay, need a second?
This is Dan Barker. I'll second that with the emphasis on the co-sponsors moving forward. That's what we're looking for, partnerships.
Excellent. Okay, any questions or comments? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
I,
I,
Anyone opposed? Motion passes. Wow, this item took quite a while. Okay, we are on to the next item now.
Thank you, everyone, for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Rebecca.
Rebecca. Now, start the planning. So let's make that the best tree lighting and all of those things ever. Wonderful.
And add budget line items for next year from other departments, please.
I think that's a really good, valid point, Dan, that actually it'd be a great advocate from a multitude of committees to be talking about, like, what are our priorities in this community. And if part of it is to have community events that is about bringing everyone together, where should that be coming from? Like, Parks and Rec, it's inherent in our nature, but if we're unable to budget independently for it, I think it makes it very difficult to be that supporting partner in a lot of ways. If we have to figure out how we're going to generate the revenue to be able to do that. So, I mean, I would just highly request that this would be a great thing as we're going into budget season to really be talking about amongst all of our committees. And we do have some others on this group that could really help us. I mean, if that's our goal is right, equity and inclusion. How can we do that amongst all of our different commissions, boards, committees, our departments, and just move forward? Because
Yes, please. Yes,
my-
please.
in my past life in other rec departments, like, we have so much set aside to have special events or community building events. So we're not necessarily worrying about trying to find someone to sponsor it, trying to take care of some of these things. Because if we're really trying to promote community, we want to just put it out there for everyone.
Yes, please. And by no means am I disparaging what you guys do. Thank you. You know, community is what we're all about. So yes, please. I think Kathy was going to add on to that.
Excellent, Rebecca. Excellent. Well, yes, Kathy, go ahead.
No, it wasn't actually. I just thank you. Thank you.
All right, thanks.
Okay, awesome. So, okay, let's go ahead and I like the equity and inclusion, and let's see if we can, yeah, anyway, I don't want to repeat the same thing. Let's go to the next item now. Request for CDA event sponsorship strolling Middleton by Arts and Literature Lab, all on Friday, strolling jazz. So September 17, 2021. So this is the request for $3,500. So Abby, you want to, well, you probably have all read the details. So
Yep, and Jolyn Rorda is here from the Arts and Literature Laboratory too, and is available to answer questions.
all right, now we know Jolene. So Jolene. Okay, so Jolene, you want to say anything other than what's already there and what you guys submitted? So I'm sure that you had all of you had a time to read. So this is, they're going to think of outdoor events, limiting the attendance, and social distancing and virtual options and advertising. So I think I looked at the proposal. It looks very good. So Abby, is it about the same amount which we have paid in 2019?
This is the same as 2019, yes.
Okay. So number one is that what all of you think of this event for our downtown? Anybody wants to take the lead?
Dan
I
Barker
think
has his hand raised.
Okay, Dan Barker, go up, please go ahead.
Totally in support of this. Just, I got to ask the same question. Who else is chipping in? Are we doing half or is this all on us? Thanks.
Okay, Mike Davis.
Just a nugget for all of you is that city really never has had a special events budget, to what Rebecca was saying. And what has been carved out has been carved out. The city just has not ever budgeted for that. Now that we have levy limit caps and no inflationary increases by state law, it's not getting any better. So Dan, when you say, let's get other departments to pitch in, it's quite difficult to do. And tourism can't justify it usually because they don't see it as bringing people in from the outside. It's more for the residents than it is to bring in visitors. So tourism has been a marketing partner, but not a funding partner. So I just wanted to mention that. And I think Stroll and Jazz is an awesome event. And September is the perfect time for it. And I hope you help sponsor it again.
Totally agree with Mike. It is, if you haven't attended Strolling, it is magical. It's like Summer Fun was last Thursday, only it's throughout the whole downtown. It is really just one of the best events that we have.
So Mike, for tourism, once some of these events become so popular, they will bring some people from the outside. Anyway, something for the tourism to think about in the long run.
Yeah,
But
it's just that the selling point for the hotels is who fund, that tax is something that brings them business. It's very much the argument the CDA is making for, well, let's get this in the downtown. Let's support our businesses downtown. Tourism's looking at it in an analogous way for, let's get business that supports the hotels. And it's really hard to say that Santa Parade and a downtown tree lighting are going to bring people into our hotels.
All right, good point, Mike. So, well, we need a motion to approve if you all agree. So,
Dan Barker, motion to approve.
need a second. That's for approving $3,500. So,
This is
Okay.
Kieran. I'll second it.
okay, Karen seconded. Now let the discussion begin. Everybody's happy with this? I don't see any raised hand. All those in favor of the motion by Dan and second by Karen to approve $3,500 for the Strolling Jazz Middleton, say aye.
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 Bye.
Anyone opposed? Well, Mike Davis is opposing it. Wow, Mike, you are not the member, so you can't oppose it. So, and Kari, okay, so anyone opposed? Kari, you have your hand up?
No, I just I didn't quite get a chance to say the usual thing that either Kathy or I do, that we would like to have a report of how the money was spent and a brief written report of how the event went and how the money was spent.
Add that into the motion, I think, Dan.
Thank you.
Yes.
Agreed, please.
Yes.
And sponsorship by the CDA.
Yes, absolutely. So I know in the past, I looked at that, the card which the distributor, let the CDA be more prominent than the last time. So Jolene, how do you pronounce your name? Jolene, Abby, how do you pronounce it?
Jolene.
Jolene, okay. So Jolene, so remember the CDA, so thank you. Any
And if
other
we could
question?
get maybe just something at the Historical Society too, just throwing that out there, if you got that, Jolene.
Okay,
Thank you so much. And just to do you want me to answer the question that came up earlier about sort of how much comes from other sources?
yes, please.
So I would say the CDA is about a third. So the other a third comes from grant support, and then the final third has been coming from donations and other sponsorships from the hosting venues and other business sponsors in the community. So that is where it is, but we are happy to start. I know that hasn't been requested in the past, so happy to send you some follow-ups. I know that when we make our requests next year, we also usually try to send some pictures from the previous year and things like that. But we definitely want to keep you updated, and hopefully you come that night so you see what a great event it is. Really appreciate your continued support of it.
I'm going to put on my calendar right today. So yes, I enjoyed in the past and I'm sure we will enjoy it again. Thank you, Jolene.
Thank you. Good night.
Any other questions for Jolene?
This is Kathy. I have my hand up. I just wanted to, Dan, that's a great idea. The Historical Society has a beautiful front porch on their historic building and a lawn. It would be a really nice setting for this if you're looking for extra places. So
Yeah,
Thank you,
I'll let
Kathy.
Nick and Nicole know that, because I know I saw the note from the library not being able to do it because they're going to be only partially opening, or slowly reopening, and so I'll mention that as a possible venue then. That's great.
All right. We are making progress. Okay, so we are on to the next item, which is discussion updates and next step on downtown Middleton summer fun. I think we already talked about it. Let's see what we didn't. So,
Yeah, I'll open it up first to Kieran and Dan and Kathy for updates.
okay, Dan and Karen and Kathy, you are all three up now. So
Okay.
who wants to start first?
So,
It looks
I
like
mean,
Karen wants to get started, right?
Sure. I'll just comment on last Thursday. So I was not in Middleton for the previous two, but from last Thursday, I particularly want to highlight the public support. So I made a point of going around and talking to as many people as I could at the event last Thursday. And, obviously the folks who were there are obviously enjoying it, but it was such a strong positive feedback from everybody I spoke to. In particular, everybody was enthusiastic about the street being closed. Those of us who were there could see the kids running back and forth, playing tag, doing the sidewalk chalk, riding their bikes on the closed portion of Hubbard Avenue. I talked to Ron from the Village Green, and he was positive on it as well. The band themselves had a fantastic time. I think they were so delighted to get out and perform again. It was their first performance since COVID times. They had a great time, and just overall, it was very positive. I put up a post on Nextdoor the following day just to kind of highlight what a great evening it was. And, I'm not going to boast about my social media following, but I will say there was very positive comments about it. All of them are positive. I was expecting to get a few naysayers on there, but none so far. So on the whole, I think last Thursday we had the perfect weather. We had ideal music, which those who wanted to hear the music were able to get up closer to the band. Those who just wanted to sit and chat were able to sit further away. The kids had great fun with the closed street, with the chalk art, and with the arts committee. So again, thanks to the arts committee for the work they're doing as well. And Jocelyn was there from the library, and she was talking to folks and everything as well. So overall, it was a very positive experience, personally for myself, but from everybody I talked to, had positive feedback, and then positive feedback the following day on social media as well. So I'll leave my comments there, but I'll say that.
Thank you, Karen, and I saw your post on the web. And I would say that my two grandkids, they also would agree with you. They had good time too. Okay, so the next one is Katie and then Mike Davis.
Thanks. I wanted to comment, first of all, on the beautiful posters. They're really, really cool. I have
Meg McComb.
Oh yeah, Meg. I'm on the arts committee, so I know her. Anyway, question about what happens if it rains. Is there a plan B?
We'll just cancel the event. And
Okay.
and we were talking to Mr. Boyer, and he, in working with musicians, he suggested that was kind of the common practice where the musician will say, well, it's going to rain, so we're going to cancel tonight. We kind of go from there.
Okay, and then also, Eric, my partner, is Too Sick Charlie, and he had, I think, talked to Dan about a half-hour kids harmonica lesson beforehand, and that did not make it on the poster, which is sad, but he bought all kinds of harmonicas to give away to kids, and so hopefully we can like get the word out somehow.
Yes. So Katie,
I'm
on-
sorry about that.
Yeah.
Sorry.
If
So cool.
if he has any collateral, any images or anything else that you'd like to share with us or messaging, please send that over. I'll definitely put it up on Nextdoor. Who's doing the Facebook page, Abby? Is that Scott?
Scott is, yeah, and we can easily edit it. Can you clarify, Katie, what time the harmonica lesson will be from?
Well, he had originally planned to start the harmonica lesson at 5:30, but if
Okay.
need be, he can just do a super short version of that at 6.
5:30 is fine, Katie. Last week, Michelle from the Arts Committee got there around 5:30. And as soon as she started pulling out the art supplies, the kids descended like a swarm of locusts. So,
Oh, cool. Okay.
I would
I
say
think
even the
earlier is
grown-up.
better for the kids. They'll love it. They'll show up. I mean, if we get the same kind of weather we had last Thursday, I think 5:30 will be fine. Gives the kids something to do. The parents can grab a drink and something to eat, and then the music starts at 6. That's fine.
I think he's even written a special song for the kids.
Excellent. All right. Well, we will definitely up the ante and get the word out on social media.
For
And
sure,
if
we'll
we,
take care of that.
I'd like to say,
Go ahead.
if we need to eat the price on those harmonicas, we'd do that.
What's it?
They would be willing to.
Oh, it was approximately $100. I got 25 of them. They're $4.99 a piece.
He has 25 harmonicas, and so they were about $100 for total. If you want, he's only charging $100 for the concert. So I think he was the
Please
cheapest
send
on
it.
the docket.
Please send an invoice. We'll take care of that. Thank you.
Include
That
that
is
include it on your
so
invoice.
fun. I'm really excited about that, Katie.
So
Yay.
Katie, is that open to grown-ups as well? I'm always willing to learn.
Do you want to learn how to play a harmonica, Mayor?
Absolutely. I mean, why not? So,
There's no upper age limit.
Oh, okay. Eric just said there's no upper age limit.
all right, the way to go. I might show up at 5:30. Is that tomorrow?
No, it's a week from tomorrow,
Oh,
the
okay.
29th.
I will put on the calendar. So the next one is Mike Davis and then Kathy.
I just
Thank
want to
you.
say, like Kieran, I missed the first two, but I was there last week and it was just extraordinary. And I like that, in particular, that the music doesn't dominate the scene. I think that's a good thing moving forward for next year as well, when we plan events, to have the music be harmonious with the gathering of people, able to talk and socialize and enjoy the music as well. So I just wanted to pass that on.
Excellent, Mike. Kathy?
Two things. I love where the band has been setting up midway, along Hubbard Avenue. I think that's working really well. And I just want to say thank you to Scott Heacock. He has been so helpful and such a good supporter for this event.
Agreed, Kathy.
Yeah.
Agreed.
He's a rock star. I'll pass it on.
Excellent. So, well, next one is Jessica Rigo. And I would ask Dan and Karen that, do we still have the plans for amplification, or that's the way it is?
Yes, we now, I believe, have the permission to do so, right, Kathy? And we have been using power courtesy of the Village Green.
Right.
So pulling
Through
it up.
through September 9th. So I don't know if we're going to need anything like that for the strolling jazz, but that's another story, another day. So
Right.
Okay.
And probably would invite Jessica to have your comment here, but then I also wanted to make sure we discuss the street closure for August. So Jessica, far away.
Jessica, go ahead, please.
Well, first, I live close by to my business, so every time I'd walk home on Thursday nights, it's been really fun to hear the band and see how much activity is downtown. And we don't have a lot of feedback yet from retailers. We have our quarterly meeting tomorrow, so we just sort of missed the window. I know Andrea has tried to get some feedback from people, and the couple of things we heard were that one particular retailer said, it's not the focus for us to be open during the time when there's an event downtown, if that makes sense. So their focus isn't on shopping, it's on the event. But that doesn't mean, that's not a negative comment. I think I'll speak personally, I think it's all about leveraging all these events together. And I think that bringing people downtown anytime is a great thing. And I think I'd want to be outside listening to the music and enjoying the weather. So I think it's just something to keep in mind. Like, I know I thought about being open later as a retailer, but exactly what this other retailer said, that it just doesn't lend itself well for extra staffing and things like that when the focus is on something so spectacular as great weather and good music and fun socialization. One comment was that if we were to continue with the plan, which has been awesome, is to consider the possibility of porta potties. The traffic in and out of some of the restaurants is a little busier because they're trying to, wait staff and inside and outside and people. So that was just another comment that was made. And it was tough on staff to have staffing for later hours. And again, that's the retail focus, and it's not meant as a bad thing, but just if you're wondering like, well, why aren't the shops open later? That would be why. And we're hoping to get some more feedback tomorrow at our meeting. So I think it's just, I think it's wonderful.
Excellent feedback, Jessica. Thank you.
Thank you, Jessica. And also, it's creating a vibe. Once people start coming, they would know that they're going downtown Middleton. So right now, they will come at other hours as well. Next one is Karen.
Yeah, so first of all, I just want to respond to Jessica's feedback. So really appreciate that. And we would like to hear from your group after tomorrow's meeting as well. Fully understand the staffing issues. Although I would say like that gap up to 6 o'clock, there's a lot of people milling around there. So for stores who maybe are shutting at 5 or 5:30, if they're able to stay that extra half hour or even to 6:30, you may get additional foot traffic, but it's something to experiment. One suggestion perhaps is to do a one evening, like where you all coordinate and say, let's have an extended opening hour evening, which we'd happily market as well. So if whatever ideas you guys are throwing around tomorrow, by all means, come back to us and we're willing to work with you. Like I said, our main goal here is to have some community fun and get us all together and back out again. Secondary goal is to support our downtown bars and restaurants with a crowd of people there in an evening, on Thursday, Friday, Saturday are already full. But if we can figure out a way that it also is supporting the retailers, that would be the trifecta. So let's try and figure out a way to do that too.
Excellent. Any other questions or comments before we move on to the next item? Okay.
Sorry, Mayor, I did have one
Jessica,
question.
you still have your hand up. Are you done or you have something more to say?
I'm officially done. I don't know why my hand won't go down.
Okay, all right.
I need to get better at these meetings.
One thing that we do need to discuss is the street closure. So Dan, when he initially polled the businesses, there was folks like, well, let's just tiptoe into this. Let's just do it for the month of July. I think we should take the decision that we should continue this all the way through to Labor Day weekend, the closures on Thursday evening. Dan, if you think we need to go back to the businesses and explain that to them. We've got Jessica here as a representative. Maybe that's something you could discuss tomorrow as well, Jessica. But the public feedback has been overwhelming, that they like it. I even talked to some of the kids attending and they loved it. They felt like one of the little girls, she's in my daughter's class in El Milan, she's 10, and she said, I felt safe, right? And so that's exactly what we want to have. So we really want to do this for August as well.
And I agree with Karen. Kids and people and parents, they all love it. So thank you. Okay, any other item before we move on to the next item, which is to go into closed session?
Quickly, so does that mean for sure that the street will be closed every Thursday, then in August as well? Just so I can report that tomorrow. And then if you want, sorry, my dogs are fighting in the background.
Well, that's what I'm asking the committee here, everyone. Do we want to make that decision now? Or Dan, do you think we should go back or, ask Jessica maybe to bring our request, well, our position maybe to the fellow retailers tomorrow?
Kieran, I very much support your position, but I'd like to hear what Jessica and her representative people say.
Okay. So Jessica, I think our position on this is clear. And again, obviously we'd much rather do things with support. But if you could have that discussion tomorrow, we'd love to hear your point of view.
I I'd like some clarity going forward. I don't want to say, okay, at the end of July, we're still waiting to see whether we're going to be closing the streets in August. This has been working out so well. And I think the CDA should say, yes, this is what we want to do.
Okay, do we need a motion for that then, or do you want to wait until? Well, I mean, our position is clear, and unless we hear differently from the DMPA, we will go with it. So,
Okay, so I'll make a motion that we continue the street closures through the month of August, but we'll invite comment from the downtown businesses on that point, and we're willing to discuss it. But right now, let's make a decision that we're planning on closing the streets on the Thursdays through August.
okay, need a second, and then Kari has her hand up.
I will second that. And for the main reason that last week was like it's really catching on, and last week was the first week showing that. And I just think it's going to build momentum. So
I agree with you, Kari.
Thank you. I just wanted to say that I talked to one of Matt and Andrea's managers last Thursday, and sort of his verbatim take was, this is awesome. We have almost more business than we know what to do with. The street closure isn't affecting us at all. No complaints, which I think will echo what most of the food people are going to have to say. I would also say that whether people want to duck into a business for a little bit or not for a little bit might be different. Like this Thursday when it's going to be in the high 80s, it was perfect weather last Thursday. And I think if somebody has air conditioning and something to browse, I think that you might see something different on a hot or a really muggy night. So I support the idea of continuing through the month of August. I think it's awesome.
Thank you, Kari. Dan Barker, Mike Davis, and then Jessica Rigo.
Yeah, I'm sorry. As everyone knows, I'm deeply in favor of this activity. I guess, though, to be fair, I'd like to put out there that one, we investigate the use of porta potties, and two, what is the CDA willing to do if one out of the 10 businesses says this is costing me money? Are we willing to keep moving forward?
Yeah, I think, Dan, my point is we're seeking input from the business community, but I think this is something we have to consider the entire community here in Middleton, as opposed to just the, business owners. And that's like Jessica, that's not a slight her. We really do value the input from you and your colleagues, but we have to give consideration to the whole community.
Okay, next, Dan, you have a hand up. You have more to add? Okay, Mike.
I'm
Davis
done. Thank you.
Okay, Mike Davis and then Jessica Rigo.
I talked with Matt and Andrea Van Ness tonight about the event, and they were both very upbeat about Thursday nights and how it's leading into Friday and Saturdays being good as well. And Andrea was of the same mind as Jessica, that the retail folks are not going to extend their hours because of the very concerns that Jessica expressed, and staffing and people being there for the event itself. So I think you're not going to have any problems with closing the street because the retailers won't be open, and the ones that are the restaurants, and they're benefiting from it.
Excellent, Mike. Jessica, final points.
I would copy what Mike just said, and that it's not really affecting, I think the retailers are all closed. However, going back to what Kieran said about the possibility of planning an evening where we were to be open later, we have done that in the past. We had our once a Thursday, every Thursday, third Thursdays is what we called it. And it didn't kind of take on momentum, but knowing ahead of time that something like this maybe is happening, we could build on this in the fall or during cooler weather. So I think everything that's happening with this is extremely positive, and it's just great to know it ahead of time so there can be some planning. So if retailers want to experiment with staying open till 6, I know we just changed our hours. It's a great chance for people to just stop by quick and see what's around, and then head off to what they're there for. So thank you also for planning this.
Thank you, Jessica. Any other questions or comments? Otherwise, all those in favor of the motion say aye.
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 Anyone opposed? Motion passes. All right, we are to item number 5. Need a motion to go into closed session.
So moved.
Second,
Okay, all those in favor of the motion to go into closed session, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, so now let's clear up, let's make sure that only the people who should be here in the closed sessions are in the closed session.
And I think that we are good. We only just have commission members and city staff. So
Okay,
I'm just gonna quickly, I'm gonna pause the recording.
okay.